When I tell y'all it's good versus evil out here, ladies and gentlemen, it's good versus evil. That's what I'm gonna title this video. Good versus evil. Let's go.
Once again signal their virtue, how much more compassionate and virtuous they are, by chanting, quote, F Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! No, you guys gotta get Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Racist bastard! Racist bastard! Piss on your ass! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk!
Move. Look, move.
Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk! He was a racist! He was a racist!
Absolutely unbelievable what has happened in American discourse and politics. The fact that so many people have been hoodwinked into thinking that these are the people fighting for a righteous cause. Like I just said earlier, they'll burn the country down for a literal criminal. They'll destroy a police officer's life and send him to prison, all to uphold their false narrative of systemic racism in the country. But when a man is shot, assassinated, for doing nothing but debate policy, fight for families, stand for Christian values, they take to the streets and desecrate his name. You want to talk about hate in America? This is it. These are the vile, hate-spewing radicals. And they've somehow convinced millions of people that they're the ones claiming to fight hate. Yet it's all they produce. They radiate hate. And that's really the part that sticks with me. That's really where my brain's been at. That keeps popping up in the back of my mind. We keep hearing all of this talk that Charlie Kirk was hateful. He was so hateful, the shooter believed the same thing. But why was Charlie Kirk hateful? Because he engaged in spirited, nuanced debate about issues of the day in a respectful manner? He was willing to sit down with anyone, even people he disagreed with, defend his point of view. But the fact that he had a different point of view than the radical left, that means he's hateful. No, the hate came from the man who shot him. And now what we're seeing from the left, what they're putting on display, mobs chanting for death, celebrating political assassinations, attacking a great man after he was killed so senselessly, that's the hate. The projection couldn't be any clearer. And I think the stats back it up as well. You know, the left has been trying to gaslight us recently. They keep showing us these ADL reports claiming that the real threat of political violence comes from the right. But it's totally skewed, cherry-picked data to help build this narrative that the right wing is so deeply hateful. They take a couple isolated cases, horrible crimes that were committed by complete psychos, and they slap the right-wing extremist label on them, even though they don't have a single example of an actual politically motivated instance of hate from the right. They present that data without even looking into it, without even actually analyzing the data itself, and they simply make the claim. But if you look at the actual numbers, the surveys show the true sentiment, true opinions based on political spectrum. And boy, does it tell a completely different story. 55% of left-leaning voters said assassinating Donald Trump could be justified. That's over half of left-leaning voters. And then nearly half of those voters, 48%, said the same thing about Elon Musk. Then we have a YouGov poll in September of 2025, and considering that it's YouGov, you know the real numbers are probably a whole lot worse. Well, fresh off the Charlie Kirk assassination, 1 in 4 very liberal Americans openly admitted that political violence is sometimes justified, and a similar share said they were perfectly fine celebrating the death of their political opponents. You know, it's pretty out there. They're pretty open and honest about it. Honestly, it's not even like they're covering it up. No, they'll say it outright.
Some people say that it takes a violent protest to get people to listen. Do you agree, or should they remain peaceful?
I agree. I absolutely agree. You know, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community, and our liberation and our rights came after the Stonewall riots. That's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, is that, you know, the LGBTQ movement started with Stonewall riots. I wouldn't even be able to be a student at this school if it wasn't for a violent riot that took place within a span of 3 days. So I absolutely agree that sometimes violent protests and really riots and those kinds of loud rebellions must take place for tangible change.
And so I'm sitting here and I'm asking myself, after witnessing everything that we've witnessed, who really has a culture of political violence? Who really is creating a generation of radicals convinced that murdering political enemies is, quote, justice? I think the answer could not be clearer? And just imagine if this had gone the other way. Imagine if a left-wing activist had been assassinated by a conservative because he thought that person was spreading too much hate. Could you picture the outrage? Imagine the 24/7 coverage, the sob stories, the memorials, the endless talks of threat to democracies. Imagine seeing a mass group in New York City walking around chanting F that person. It would be the end of the frickin' world. But when the left does it, when they're engaging in these despicable actions,
Right.
when they're openly cheering the murder of a man because they disagreed with him, nothing,
That
not
nigga
a
ain't even
peep,
know
not an
Charlie
ounce
Kirk.
of shame. No, instead, they try to flip the script and claim that, oh, the shooter was a right-winger. Or then they move to their next talking point, that actually it was just an
Great
act
move.
of love. And when
Look,
that doesn't
moves.
work, the next strategy is to try to
Surrounded
pretend as
by
if
moves,
Jimmy
man.
Kimmel is really the real victim here. Oh, poor Jimmy Kimmel. They want to distract away from Charlie Kirk's death and now make him the victim of Trump's latest fascistic effort. Look what Donald Trump did to Jimmy Kimmel. Again, I'd like to clarify, Donald Trump didn't do that, we did. But this notion that he's now the victim, it's obviously just a distraction from the Charlie Kirk incident. You know, this is the truth that the leftist media will never say out loud. The left is the real party of hate. They lecture us endlessly about tolerance and compassion, but when you strip away their slogans, what is left? They celebrate murder, they mock widows, they desecrate memorials. We got teachers and professors laughing at a political assassination. We got politicians refusing to even condemn it. Not to mention we got a party that clearly weaponizes race, takes these fringe outlier events and tries to manipulate and twist the facts to dishonestly create these false narratives. They scream that conservatives are dangerous, filled with hate, that we're a threat to democracy. But as they're yelling that, in the background, their side is engaging in violent mob behavior and riots, assassinations, assaulting people for simply wearing a Trump hat or showing up on campus for a debate. They're the side that treats human life as disposable the second it belongs to a political side that they disagree with. And it's not just a little anomaly. It's not just one rogue shooter, not one crazy person, as Nancy Pelosi was telling us the other day. No, it's a culture, it's a movement, and it runs straight through the Democrat Party. And it's really not up for debate anymore. You can see it with your own eyes, and you can also see it in the data. And you can also see it in the data. And so obviously, if you don't see it, well then you're being purposely, politically, and ideologically blind. And see it in the data. And so obviously, if you don't see it, well then you're being purposely, politically, and ideologically blind. In other words, you're everything you accuse the right of being. And
After all that hate, y'all just saying, there's always some light at the end of the tunnel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. The devil was a liar, ladies and gentlemen. The devil was a liar. Let's go.
I know we're going through some tumultuous times. I know we're going through some dark times. But at the end of the day, it's always darkness before the light. It's always darkness before the light. These people have no idea what they've awakened within us. They have no clue. No clue. Not just here in America, but all over the world. The legacy of Charlie will live on. It's unbelievable. You know, I have a set of scriptures that I like to live my life by. I like to measure myself by. And it's a set of scriptures. I put this mirror up to Charlie to see how he measured up. And he measured up just fine. Just fine. 2 Timothy 4, verses 2 through 5. And it reads, preach the word. Be prepared in season and out of season. Correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction. For the time will come when people will not put up a sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn away from the truth and turn aside to myths. But you, keep your head in all situations. Endure hardship. Do the work of an evangelist. Discharge all the duties of your ministry. I take great solace in these scriptures. And I look at that, and I look at Charlie's life, and I see how they compare. Preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. This is what we're supposed to do. And when you look at Charlie, whenever he went to these college campuses, all he did was preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's it. That's it. He was prepared in season and out of season. He was prepared at all times. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to be prepared at all times too. We have to have an answer for our hope in Jesus Christ. And we have to be prepared to give that at a moment's notice. This is what we must do. Preach the word, be prepared in season and out of season. Correct, rebuke, and encourage. Oh, Charlie did that very well. Very well. He corrected the misinformation. He rebuked the lies and encouraged others to stand in truth, walk in truth, live in truth.
In truth, that's right.
This is what we must do.
Amen.
And I'm happy to be able to see that within Charlie's life. Correcting, rebuking, and encouraging. For the time will come when people will not put up a sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn away from the truth and turn aside to myths. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a day and age where people want to be affirmed in the delusions of grandeur. They want to be affirmed in their sin. They want to be affirmed in their wickedness. They want to be affirmed in their evil. We can't give them that. We can't give them affirmations. We give them Jesus Christ. That's what we give them. That's what we're supposed to do. We can't affirm these people's sin and their sinful lifestyles and their sinful ideology that is so antithetical to the B-I-B-L-E, the basic instructions before leaving earth. We have to keep these people and bring them into the fold of who Jesus wants them to be. But you keep your head in all situations. Now, Charlie, boy, oh boy, I think whenever we watch these videos, we would get angry for Charlie. Boy, the way they would malign his name, slander his name. They're doing that right now. See, they couldn't defeat him on the free marketplace of ideas and the battlefield of ideas. They couldn't beat him there. So they had to murder him. And then when he's dead, now they want to go ahead and slander and malign this man. We must take up the mantle and stand in the gap for a man who stood in the gap for us.
That's right.
This is what we must do.
That's right. Where that skinny ass nigga at?
That's our job. That's our task. That's our job. That's our task.
That's right. Start with that skinny ass nigga from New York.
We are Charlie Kirk.
That's right.
This is what we got to do, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, we are called to endure hardship. That means we're going to go through it. It's not a maybe, sort of, kind of maybe. It's endure it. We must endure the hardship that's going to come our way. And it's going to happen. But you have to be a good soldier of Jesus Christ. And when it comes to Charlie, He was exactly that. He died in the full armor of God.
Yeah,
He had his Ephesians 6 armor on.
Facts.
He died with it on, baby. He died
Amen.
right on the
Yes,
battlefield.
he did. Yes, he did.
And the thing is about the full armor of God, it's not supposed to protect your body. It protects your soul. And that's the thing about this full armor that we got to be shod with when it comes to the feet that are shod with the preparation of peace, the preparation of the gospel of Jesus Christ. When it comes to the breastplate of righteousness that guards our heart,
Not spilling
the
heat.
helmet of salvation that guards our minds, the belt of truth that keeps this whole ensemble together. And we go to war.
That's right.
With our shield of faith to withstand all the fiery darts of the enemy. And we fight back with the word of God, which is the sword of the Spirit. And at the end of the day, I hope we can all be as fortunate as Charlie to die and be carried to paradise on our shield of faith.
Facts.
Carried on to paradise. That's any warrior's dream. And we must aspire for the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to rise. It's our time. It's our time. We can't sit down. We can't be quiet. We can't stand idly by as souls go to hell and as our country goes to hell with it. We must stand for our country. We must stand for our countrymen. This is what we must do. This is what we are called to do. We're supposed to love each other as ourselves. Let's embody the same traits and the same attributes as Charlie Kirk did. Let us stand for our fallen brother as he has stood for us. And I just want to give a couple more thoughts real quick. When it comes to Charlie Kirk, the way we thank him is by living out what he espoused and getting people to realize what he espoused and how it's beneficial for us as Americans and as Christians. Some of his quotes were, tell someone about Jesus this week. Tell someone about Jesus this week. Why not? Get married, have kids, stop partying into oblivion. Uh-oh. Come on now. Find time to read the Bible every day. Every day. Every day.
Get that word.
As someone who works out, it's all about the reps. It's all about the sets. So you got to get the reps and sets when it comes to the B-I-B-L-E. We got to get our spiritual strength up. This is what we must do. Western civilization is worth dying for and worth fighting for. Yes, it is. And as we've seen with Charlie Kirk, yes, it is. So Charlie has left us with a clear set of instructions to read our Bible, to evangelize the gospel, to get married and have kids and fight for America. How about that for an idea? How about that? We need you to go out there and do that. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Let us all stand for Charlie Kirk. Let us all stand for our country. Let us all stand as we know we should. Let us be the bastions of beacons of hope within our country. Let's set a revival in this country. Let this set this country on fire for Jesus Christ. That's what it's all about. This is how we honor his legacy. This is how we honor his legacy. God bless y'all. God bless the United States of America. God bless Charlie Kirk and his family. Let's go.